Oh, are you asking for color schemes for this Star Wars uh for these Star Wars minis? See, I don't know enough about Star Wars. Is there any Star Wars people in chat that can give me a good hint about what to paint these armies here? That's also true. If you paint the entire model pink and then paint over the pink where you want the yellow spots to be and do a couple of yellow shades over that, perfect. There's like 40 minis there. I recommend they do some googling. That's fair. Um I just wasn't sure if it was like 40K where armies have similar paint schemes. I wasn't sure if it worked the same way or not. Um the Mandalorians are all in metallics. The pirates are just various shades of brown. Okay, that's fair. Really, I mean it's all up to your creative interpretation as to how to do that. There's no right way or wrong way to paint a mini. I would say for me, there are things that stay consistent. So, um, pouches, belts, um, sometimes backpacks, depending on what they look like, and gun holsters are always leather colored for me. So I know exactly where to start with that. I grab this brown, I highlight up into this. Um, you know, uh, guns, swords, those are all normally silver or gunmetal into silver for me. So I know exactly how to do that. I think as you go in the hobby, you'll start learning, okay, I'm going to assign this small group of colors to whenever I do a backpack or whenever I do a rock or whenever I do leather of any kind. And you'll kind of just you'll get to the point where eventually you'll look at a mini and be able to assign its different components colors based on those standards that you set for yourself. And then the creative part can come in afterwards where armor, robes, what else do we have? Like magic flames, like these horrors here. Um, that's where your creativity can kind of start to march in. And of course, you don't always have to follow those guidelines that you set for yourself, but they're really a good starting point if you're not sure what to do with a mini. So if you look at a mini and go, okay, it's got leather boots on. Well, I don't know what else to do. So I'm going to start with the leather boots. I'll do brown on the leather, and then I will do a black for the sole. And then you go, okay, what's next? Do I have another creative idea? If I don't have another creative idea, I'll go to the pouches and the belts and the bags and things, and I'll paint those in leather. I will do the metallics and silvers and wash them down so they're the way I want them. And hopefully by then you will have spent enough time with the mini to kind of get an idea of where you want to go with it. So things like clothing, jackets, armor, you can make those consistent across the army, or you can just do whatever you want with each one. It's totally up to you. Um, so I think you would benefit from building out a painting process rather than just trying to figure out what colors that you can just assign to a model. You know, like Space Marines have it. Well, I won't just say Space Marines. I'll say most of the armored units in 40K have it nice in that if I am playing Dark Angels, I know exactly how I'm going to paint them. They are green armor, and they have all those little bits and bobs are their own colors. These Votan, I know that the cloth on my Votan is supposed to be white, and the armor is supposed to be blue, and that is my main scheme. So that happens across all of my minis. I don't know as though Star Wars really falls into that category as much. I don't know enough about the franchise to tell you for certain, but that's kind of where I'm at with that. Because I think that is a solid bit of advice. I think that building out a kind of a like an idea of all the little things that come into a mini can really kind of help you flow into the rest of it if you're not sure about it. And tag them in the Discord. Yes, that's fair. Certain color combos can also go out the window for a mini depending on the setting they're in. Yes, that's also true. If it's fantasy, the leather could also be something else besides brown because the leather is made from or an odd slug. This is true. However, I have found in my practice with this that if it's supposed to be leather but you paint it a different color, it doesn't track as leather anymore. You know what I mean? Like in person, if you see painted leather, you know, okay, I see the texture in it. I see the way it moves. I see that it's colored. That's painted leather. But on a miniature scale, in something so small, you can absolutely do that. I just don't feel like it tracks as leather at that point. I feel like it might look more like fabric or cloth or something like that. Um, but you are correct. Like the setting that you're in definitely does make a difference when you're picking a color scheme for your mini. So like, um, and also preference. Like if you don't like brown boots, paint your boots black. If you don't like black boots, paint them mahogany. If you don't like that, paint them red. You know, boots can come in any color. And if you create that consistency for yourself, you might box yourself in. And it is important to kind of step outside of that with some regularity. But having that fallback, I think, is a very important thing to build in your hobby. Just for yourself, like looking at any miniature and going, "Oh gosh, I gotta pick colors for this from the very beginning." It's terrifying. Like I look at this Vespid here, and it's like, okay, every single part of this has to have paint. That's overwhelming. Especially if not only are you painting one Vespid, but once you paint this one, you've got 9 more left to go. It's pretty overwhelming to just sit here and try and visualize those colors. So it can be helpful to do the standby stuff first, get that out of the way, right? And then you know what else to paint it. If you're painting to play with it, and the way you paint it makes you happy, paint it how you like it. If you want to paint to improve, then yeah, you kind of have to. That's fair. You're right, Hyena. If at the end of the day, this is your hobby. If you want to paint it gold with silver hair and purple teeth, do you, man? That is totally up to you. Um, if it makes you happy and the end result is more fun for you, then run with it.